Hey there, y'all. It's Miss Campbell, and we're going to go through the review. I'm going to there's a couple of each type of problem, and so I'll do one with you guys, and then you guys will do one on your own. So the first thing here, it says, what is the solution to all of this? And y'all, we see it's one equation with one variable in it, so it's only x's. So we're going to use nsolve. So remember that's menu 3, 1. So menu 3, 1 on your calculator. So we're going to get our calculator here. I'm just going to go home and I'm just going to go to the regular calculate screen. So we'll press menu and put 3 for algebra, and then we want numerical solve, so 1. And let me kind of minimize this a little bit so I can see here. So we got 5 times, and we have 2x plus 6. So I'll make this larger again. So 5 in the parentheses 2x plus 6, close parentheses there, equals -4, and then we have -5 minus 2x, so -4, and then in parentheses -5, subtract 2x, close up our parentheses, and then we've got plus 3x, okay? So plus 3x. Now all of that is inside the big nsolve parentheses, and then before we press enter, we've got to put comma, and then we put the letter that we've typed in, and we've put x. So put x there and press enter, and so our answer is 10. So all we had to do was just go menu 3, 1, and then type in there. All right, the next one we've got, so you've got that one there. This is the same kind of process. Same kind of process for this one here. And again, same kind of process for that one there. The only thing you just got to make sure, like on this one, if you type into the calculator, if you type in your equation and you use the letter y at the end before you press enter, you're going to put comma y. So whatever the letter is that you type in, you got to match that. Okay, now this one, it says write in inequality to describe the solution set. So this is where we had to go and we had to first solve this using nsolve. And instead of the inequality symbol, we will use the equal sign. So we got to type this in here. So 5 times 3 minus x. So menu 3, 1. And we have 5 parentheses. 3 subtract x, close parentheses, and we're going to put equals. Yeah, 5 times 3 minus x, and then equals, and then we have -2x plus 6. So -2x plus 6, and we put comma x, and press enter. Okay, so we got 3. So 3 is our magic number that everything's going to revolve around. So you're going to draw a little number line, and you're going to put the number 3 on it. And then you're going to look at your inequality symbol, and we see it's just a regular less than. So we're going to put an open circle. Okay, since there's no or equals to on the bottom, it's just going to be an open circle. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a number that is smaller than 3. I always say go to the left because that will make it easier for you. So pick a number smaller than 3. A number that's smaller than 3 is 0. So we're going to go back to our calculator and we're going to plug in 0 for x and test this out. So we're going to put 5 parentheses, and we have 3, and then it was subtract. Now I see the letter x, right? I'm going to put a new set of parentheses there. I'm going to put the number that we're typing in for x, put 0, and then close up that set of parentheses really quick. And then now I'm at the end of that one there, because inside the parentheses, I should just have 3 subtract x. And then now I need to get my inequality symbol, and I need the less than symbol. So we do control and we do equals, and I'll select the less than symbol there. And then we have -2, and we put parentheses because I see x, I'm replacing x. So put 0, close that up there, and then plus 6. And now we're going to press enter, and it's going to tell us true or false. So it says false. So that means we plugged in a number over to the left of our magic number there, and it said false. So we're not going to go that way because we have to shade our arrow one direction or the other. We plugged into the left, it said false. So we have to go the other way. So we're going to end up going to the right. So now we're going to actually use this to answer a question here. So you're going to put the letter that we're dealing with, X, and then now you're going to put the 3, and you leave some space there. And we're going to put our inequality symbol. So we're shading to the right, so that means greater. So X is going to be greater than 3. So you can choose that one there. Okay, this one would be the same kind of process. Same thing for the next problem. Okay, now we're here with domain and range from a graph. So reminders about domain and range. You need to be looking, so this one says, what is the domain? So domain deals with the x's, and range is with the y's. So my domain of this one, I look at my endpoints and I just need to find where they go on the x-axis. So, and you always, for domain, you go from left to right. So where does our graph go onto the left? It goes to -7. And then now I look at my circle. It's a solid circle, so I need to put less than or equal to. And then I put X. And then now I go look on the right-hand side. And I see here, it's going to 6. And I gotta put my my inequality. So I look at my circle and it's solid. So again, I put another less than or equals to. So now we've got -7 and 6, and that's just what you type in there. All right, now we're gonna look, this is like the same graph, but we're gonna look at the range instead of the domain. So the range is looking at the y's. So for range, you go from the bottom to the top. So, and you're gonna trace over to the y-axis this time. So my lowest y value is -4. So we would type in -4 over there. And then again, the circles are closed, so they're gonna be the less than or equals to. And then now we go look up here, look at the top one, it goes up to 5. So my lowest y value is -4, my highest y value is 5. All right, this one here, they're asking you to see what is the domain of the function for this situation, and we are buying uniforms for a team. So every person has to have a uniform. So the number of uniforms is our input. The cost would be the output. So domain is input. So we need to look and see. It says there are at least 8 players, but not more than 12. So we can have 8. We could have 9 people, we could have 10 people, 11 people, and even 12 people. So our answer should be the second one here. You have to be careful, don't choose the third one, the 0 up to 12, because it says there are at least 8 players. So the lowest we could go is 8. And we don't want to choose anything with like an inequality on it because you can't have half a person. All right, next type of domain and range problem we have would be for if we have an open circle. So first thing they say, let's look at the first box. They want us to find the range. So that's going to be looking at our y's. So we go over here and it crosses the y-axis up there at 7. And down here, it crosses at -5. So range, you go from bottom to top. So we start with -5. Now I'm going to look at my circle. It's closed. So it's going to be less than or equal to. And then I'm going to put y because we're dealing with range. And then now I go up to the top and I see the number that it's at is 7. And it's got an open circle, so it's just going to be a plain less than. Okay, and then you'll follow the same process to do the domain, except instead of looking at the y's, you will be looking at your x coordinates there. So for the range, it should be between -7 and 5. And y'all remember, y is also sometimes written as like f of x, is like function notation, or in this case, g of x. So we've got to pick this one right here. That's for our range. And then the domain, if you look at the domain, you can see if it goes between -4 on the x-axis up to +8, and -4 is where the open circle is. So we should have just less than next to the -4, and then next to the 8, we'll have the less than or equal to. So this one right there. Okay. All right, so our next one there, Okay, finding the slope and the y-intercept. So y-intercept is going to be the easiest one. So you just look where your graph crosses the line at the y-axis. And where does it do that? At -3. So our y-intercept is going to be -3. And then the slope, in order to find the slope, you need to find two nice points on your graph, and you find the rise over run. So we're going to use the point here at -3. That's our y-intercept. And then we've got to be a little bit careful with choosing our next point because it looks like you could use here at 4 on the x-axis, but it actually doesn't quite cross there. So you have to go up to here. Okay, so we'll count. So rise over run. And I always do it from going from the left to the right. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going up 5. And then we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to the right. So going up is positive, so +5. Going to the right is also positive, so +7. And it's rise over run. So 5 over 7. And so, oh, let's see here. Well, I guess they do say that the point goes quite right there. So back up. We have to go with our answers here. So we use this point here. I apologize about that. Let me redraw. So if they want us to use these 2 points, we go up 1, 2, 3. So it's +3 for our rise. And then over 1, 2, 3, 4. So the correct slope would be 3/4. All right. Next thing. They want you to find the 0 of this graph. Everybody, 0 is your x-intercept. So basically, where does this line cross the x-axis? It crosses us right there at -6. So there's your 0. All right, so now this one here, it's asking you to look at this graph and to see which 2 statements of this are true. So it's just asking you to find the, look at the 0, so the x-intercept. It's looking you to, wanting you to look, see, does it go through that point, 1, 3? It's also asking you to see what the slope is and then what the y-intercept. So we've gone through all of those there. So you should be able to work that one out. Okay, same thing on this one there. This one's also asking for the 0. Okay. So this one, we're going to have to be graphing, but we have a little problem. Our equation of our line is not in y equals, so we'll have to fix that first. Okay, so we have to make our equation here to be y equals so that we can graph it. So we see we've got -5y. So our job's not that hard right now. So we have to get rid of this -5 in front of the y. So what you do is you just have to divide. So if you need to get rid of a number that's directly in front of a letter, so it's like attached to it, you divide. So we're dividing by -5 on all of these. So we have y equals, and then you can go type in the calculator. We are doing -6 divided by -5. So if you want to check that out, if you're not sure what it is. So -6 divided by -5, press enter, and it tells you it's 6/5. So 6 over 5. So we go to that. So we got 6 over 5. We have x, and then you can do 15 divided by -5. So 15 divided by -5 and press enter, and you've got -3. So we have to think of that though as a -3. So -3. So now you've got a couple of options for how you can graph this. You can either use what you know about y-intercepts and slopes to plot a couple of points and then connect them, because that's how this little graphing thing here works. So I'll show you if you want to look here. Our y-intercept on this is -3. So I'm going to go put a point on my y-axis at -3. So put one there. And then I'll also kind of show you how you can get another point to help you. So we're going to go to the graph. So I just pressed this little switch button over there. Can switch between the graph and the calculate screen. And we type in our equation because it has to be y equals. So we did that part. So we're ready to go here. So control divide, and we had 6 over 5. And then x, make sure the x is not in the bottom of your fraction, or else it will not look how it's supposed to. And then subtract 3 and press enter. So we've got our equation there, and now we can use the table. So Control T, okay, Control T will bring the table and then take it back off if you need to. So Control T, and then we're gonna go and look at our points on our table here. And we're gonna try to get ones where both our x and our y are integers. So numbers that don't have decimals on them. So you can see here, if I'm scrolling down, the column on the left, on yours, it's usually a lot more narrow. So yours probably looks more like this. The column on the left is your x coordinate. And then here underneath the blue, that is our y coordinate. So I'm going to use the point 5, 3 to plot on my graph. So 5 means my x is going to be 5. And then I'm going to go up to where y is 3. So go on our graph here. Start in the middle. Go over here to where x is 5. And then we go up 1, 2, 3. So 5, 3. And then you put a point right there. And after you've already graphed your y-intercept, you'll now have your line. And if you are not sure how to find the y-intercept, you can always repeat the process with the second point there. So like you could plot the point 5, 3, and then you can go up and you can even get another point that you might like. Maybe go to the negative x's. So you do 0, negative 3, which that's your y-intercept. Or we could go all the way, let's see. You use the point negative 5, negative 9. So all you need is 2 points. If you want to use the table to get both your points, that's fine. If you want to look at the equation, use the y-intercept and then use the table, that's cool too. All right, so this one here is another one like that. Okay, and then now graphing from standard form. So I'll go through and help you set up this equation to make it y equals. And then you guys will graph from there. So this one's a little bit different. So we have our 2x is on the same side as the y, so I need to move it to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I have negative 3y is 9, subtract 2x. And then now I need to get rid of that number in front of the y. So our last step again is to divide by negative 3 this time. And you can type in your calculator. So I'm just going to do a little switch button there. We have 9 and we are dividing by negative 3. And so you press enter and you get out negative 3. So negative 3. And then you have a negative 2 divided by a negative 3. You can type that in your calculator, see what it reduces to. But you can also remember a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 2 cannot be divided by 3 evenly, so just stays 2/3. So there's your equation that you can use to type in to your calculator and get your points. All right, next one, function notation. So this one is actually really easy. They say, given that f of x is 6 times 1 minus x, what is the value of f of negative 8? So all you have to do is look in your equation, and everywhere that you see x, you're going to replace x with a negative 8, but you're going to put it in a pair of parentheses to help protect that negative. So 6 and then 1 and subtract. So remember, this is subtract. And the parentheses, because I see the letter x, I'm going to put negative 8, close up my parentheses. So that's all x right there. And then I had to open another pair, so I have to do that. And all you have to do is type that into the calculator, and then that will give you your answer. So 6 times 1 and subtract parentheses, negative 8, close parentheses, close parentheses. You have to make sure you close up all the parentheses. And then press enter, and there you go. So the answer should be 54. Okay, this one's same concept. Same concept here as well. All right, we've got our last couple problems for the review for today, and then you'll be good to go. So this is question number 23. It says, we've got this table here. It's showing the relationship between the average height of trees on a farm and the number of years since they've been planted. It says, what is the rate of change of the average height of the trees? Okay. With respect to the number of years. And if you go and you look at your answers, you see it says feet over a year, like feet per year. So that means we're going to do the number of feet that it has changed over the number of years that it has been there. So your feet is going to go on top. So that's going to be like your y because we're doing slope here. So it's change in y over change in x. So you got to do that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's going to help you to know which is your x and your y. So feet is going to be our y. And then the years is going to be the x. Usually time is your x. So years is a measurement of time. So that's our x. So change in y over change in x. You can label your points here. This is y1 because it's the first y. There's y2 because it's the second y. And then I need to use our corresponding x values. So 10 goes with 1. So that 1 is our x1. And 24 goes with 3. So that 3 is our x2. And so now just go plug in y2 minus y1. So we have 24 minus 10 over 3 minus 1. So 24 minus 10 is going to be 14. 3 minus 1 is 2. And if calculating that is confusing to you, you can just type this whole fraction into your calculator as well, and it will do it for you. And so we have 14 over 2. So yeah, 14 divided by 2 is 7. So the change in feet per year is 7 feet per year. All right, and here's our last problem for the day. Okay, and it's saying they're giving us a table again, and they want to know what is the rate of change of the contractor's earnings in dollars with respect to the number of hours worked. So dollars is going to be your y, and hours is going to be your x. So just go and label y1, y2, x1, and x2, and then y'all use the slope formula to fit. All right, so that's all for day 1 of the review. If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher, and we will make it so you can see which questions you've gotten wrong, so you can try to go back and rework those. See you guys later.